Welcome back to the Surf Mastery Podcast. This is a podcast that helps surfers to not only be better surfers, but to enjoy surfing more, to get more out of surfing, to become wiser surfers. And the format for this podcast has mostly been long-form interviews at around about a monthly basis, and that will continue, but we're going to add some weekly episodes in the mix as well. This episode in particular is about catching waves. Catching waves is, I'd say, that the hardest part of surfing. Like, to catch the wave in the right spot, pop up in the right position on the wave, no matter what level of surfer you are, that's always the hardest part. It's like reading the ocean and getting in the right spot and catching the wave. Now, I remember when I first moved to the east coast of Australia, and it was the first time that I'd lived in a place where the waves were good, like really good, and consistently good. And the level of surfing was right up there. The surfers were so good. And at this point in my life, I'd been surfing for 15 years, and I thought I was a good surfer. But, I was a late starter. Didn't start till I was 17, and I was 100% self-taught. But I loved surfing so much. But as soon as I lived in this area, which was riddled with good waves and good surfers, I quickly realized just how below average I was. And gosh, I remember the feelings of shame and embarrassment were just so overwhelming. It gave me crippling surfing anxiety every time I surfed. Gosh, it would affect my body language. I would come across as very unconfident and actually surf like below my own surfing abilities. Because good surfers, they can smell that fear and that uncertainty, and they just snake you and they drop in on you, and it's fair enough too. There's a competence and confidence hierarchy in surfing. Confident and competent surfers to catch more waves. Waves are a limited resource, and if you want to get your share, then you better know how, and you better learn. And I remember surfing the slab, like a barreling reef wave on a small day, and it's a wave that I'd watched for 6 months before even surfing it once, and it was so intimidating. And then I'd been surfing it every day for about 3 months, and I was out there by myself one day. It was in the middle of the day. It was only about 3 foot. And I was sitting on the shoulder, dodging the barrel, and I was about 34 years old, been surfing for 16 years. And this 11-year-old kid from out of town paddled out. He'd never surfed a place, and he was just taking off deep under the lip and just playing with it, getting these crazy barrels. And I just felt like giving up. But instead, I didn't. I let it inspire me, and I was like, what is he doing? What does he see in the wave that I'm missing? I had to find out. So it was definitely like a rock bottom point in my surfing life. And, back then, this was like 2016, surf coaching definitely was not cool back then, but there was plenty of surf coaches around. And I got some surf coaching done. I actually had multiple lessons from a bunch of different surf coaches just to get some different perspectives, and got some video analysis done, and finally something clicked, and I knew what I was doing wrong, and I had strategies that I needed to correct and stuff to work on. And I just started catching more waves, started taking off deeper, and just started to improve real quickly. And everything stacked upon each other, because as I sort of became more confident and more self-aware, my body language changed. I was catching more waves, partly because I knew what I was doing. I was reading the ocean better and had the right perspectives and techniques, but also it just affected my body language and my confidence in the water. So good surfers weren't second-guessing my ability and snaking me, and they were actually starting to sort of let me take my turn. Once I discovered the secret to catching waves, it sparked a whole different journey in my surfing progression, and more importantly, like my experience of surfing. I started surfing bigger waves, faster waves. I was getting barreled, and all simply just because of a few simple realizations that became the foundation of not only my own surfing, but inspired me to become a surf coach. Because surfing is kind of like singing. Like, if you don't hit that first note, then the rest of the song is off. So catching the wave with good timing is essential for surfing the entire wave with good timing. So sometimes it just takes a couple of little things, if they're the right things, and it can change everything. Like I broke through a huge plateau in my ability, and it just opened up, the types of waves I could surf. I ended up booking a trip to Indo with confidence, something I hadn't done before. And because, there is nothing more frustrating than being a surfer and just feeling ashamed of the way you surf and not being able to catch waves and just having less experienced surfers around you just knowing what they're doing. It's the worst feeling, and I know that firsthand. Catching lots of waves and really fully enjoying surfing is so much simpler than we think. I also find a lot of the advice out there on the YouTube videos and stuff is actually, they just overcomplicate it. It's wrong. Because when I first started taking surf coaching lessons, I was shocked at how simple the fixes were, really. And I'd spent years like overthinking and struggling to figure things out on my own. All I needed was a bit of guidance, I don't want you to, there's no need to waste years stuck in that same cycle that I was stuck in. Those simple concepts I learned back then that became the foundation of the next part of my surfing journey, they've been built upon and simplified since then, because not only have I been on multiple surf trips, I've used a lot more different coaches from around the world, and I've been coaching hundreds of people along the way since then. And 10 years on, I've simplified those tips and condensed them into a nice simple program called the Wave Catching Academy. And it's a program that I wish I had back then. So if you're struggling to catch waves and you're feeling frustrated and shame when you go surfing, then this program is for you. Because in less than 90 days, and as little as 14 days, you can become a confident surfer who gets respect, catches waves effortlessly, and surfs with speed and style. No more hesitating. You'll know how to position yourself, how to read the waves properly, and catch them with confidence. There'll be no more getting snaked or dropped in on. You'll surf with competent and confident body language and skills that will signal that you know what you're doing, and you'll get more waves. And for the next 10 people that join, I'll give you a free one-on-one session where we can do some video analysis, absolutely free. So if you're serious about transforming your surfing and finally feeling like a surfer instead of a kook, then click the link in the description or go to surfmastery.com to join the Wave Catching Academy. Spots are limited, so click the link now.